Universal Studios Orlando is usually a very happy and fun place to go on a family vacation, but every October, darkness sets across the park, and Halloween Horror Nights takes over. I am a Halloween fanatic, and more importantly, I'm a haunted house fanatic. I actually run my own haunted house. That's how much I love them. And so, as you can imagine, I really enjoy Halloween Horror Nights at Orlando, Florida's Universal Studios. I've never been to Horror Nights in Los Angeles, or I think they do it in Singapore too, but obviously I haven't been to that one if I haven't been to the Los Angeles one, but I'm sure they're also great. I am just reviewing Orlando because that's the only one I went to. I've been going this was my 4th year. I started going in 2009. Yeah, did 09, 10, 11, and 12. So that's my only experience of Horror Nights. I, haven't been going all my life or anything like that. So take my opinion for what it's worth relative to how many years I've experienced. But first things first, unfortunately, I won't be reviewing the scare experiences, or street experiences they called them this year, as opposed to scare zones, because it rained. 3 out of the 4 times I've gone, it rained, and usually it lets up, but unfortunately it didn't really let up much, so I didn't really get to see the street experiences. I will say that I think I prefer the scare zones, because at least when it rains, you still have the scare zone setups to walk through and check out, but with this, because it was like wandering scare zones almost, and it was just kind of characters walking around, if it was raining, they were out, and you had nothing really to see, and everything else kind of just looked like Universal Studios at night. So, just based on that, and maybe that's kind of an interesting point of view, I think I prefer the scare zones. But let's talk about the houses, because of course those are rain or shine. They are indoors, inside the different buildings and sound stages on the Universal property, which I always think is very cool, very interesting to be walking around back there by the sound stages and going into them. It's just very interesting to me. I actually am very OCD and meticulous about the order I go through everything in, and that includes the scare zones. Obviously didn't apply this year. So I planned out to go to a house I was looking forward to first, followed by the ones I wasn't really looking forward to as much, leading up to the one I was looking forward to most. And that being said, I'll tell you my order was Universal's House of Horrors, Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare, Penn and Teller, Nuked Vegas, AMC's The Walking Dead, Dead Inside, Welcome to Silent Hill, Gothic, and Dead End. I was most looking forward to Dead End because I'm a huge fan of just a haunted house, and that's exactly what it was. It wasn't, like a Walking Dead themed haunted house. It was literally a haunted house. So let's start off with Universal's House of Horrors, which I was really interested. I was definitely intrigued because it said that it was like stark black and white classic movie monsters, and I was like, well, Universal's got all the classic movie monsters and they're gonna be in black and white. This should be interesting. I was not expecting what they did, and I think it was clever, but it was a little bit, well, yeah, it was different than what I was expecting. I don't know, for better or worse. What they ended up doing was they did black lights with black and white, which unfortunately what's weird is it makes it blue. Black lights kind of make things glow blue, and so I think it might have been better if it was actually just a strobe light. I get that the whole point was they were trying to make the white pop, but the fact that it was blue threw me off, and it didn't seem like black and white. It was kind of hard to force my brain like, that's supposed to be white. Regardless, though, it was very cool to see all the classic movie monsters. My favorite, I think, probably has to be, and I went through it twice, and it's the one part I was looking forward to most the second time. The Phantom of the Opera was really cool, definitely scared me, and I thought the way that he was kind of set up and his scare was probably my favorite part. My second favorite part, though, I have to say, was Frankenstein, how he was at the end of the hallway, and he had like these kind of like pieces of wood that he had to break through. I thought that was a genius idea, how he slammed into them and they hit the wall, and it was so loud, and it was terrifying watching him run at you. But overall, I have to say I enjoyed that house, and I did go through it twice. I thought it was worth going through again. Then we move on to ones that I wasn't looking forward to as much. Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. I don't know Alice Cooper, so right off the bat, I wasn't like, oh, I love these songs, anything like that. And, it was okay. I thought that the Alice Cooper masks were scary as hell and really creepy and disturbing, so that was cool, but I really didn't care for it that much. Penn and Teller, Nuked Vegas, I was looking forward to because I thought that it would be, kind of like cool effects and stuff like that because, it's Penn and Teller, but it ended up being more just, simple, and this is, one of the throwaway houses in my opinion. There's always 2 or 3 throwaways that are out kind of in those little bubbles, and this was one of those. What can I say? every year it's kind of about the same quality. But I will say that I appreciated it had some interactive aspects. You know, I pulled on the ropes, pushed buttons, stuff like that, and I always enjoy interactive stuff. The next level up for me in terms of anticipation were The Walking Dead and Silent Hill, and the main reason that they weren't at the top of my list is because I don't watch The Walking Dead, I don't read the comics, I don't watch the show, and I don't play the Silent Hill games. I saw the movie, but the movie was just, you know, whatever. But, so I was looking forward to them, but, you know, I knew I wasn't going to appreciate them as much as a fan would, you know, in picking stuff out, which reminded me of, you know, when they did the Saw house, everything was perfect. So I knew I wouldn't know if it was perfect in that respect. But I have to say, I can appreciate that these actually had, like, scenes recreated, which I thought was awesome. For example, the first one I went through was Walking Dead before Silent Hill, and the one thing that I loved about it was that you go past an RV, and it's like you hear inside the RV a zombie getting shot. And, you know, there's like flashing lights of the bullets, of the, you know, the gun going off. And I thought that was really cool. I really, really loved how they recreated scenes. And I can only imagine that fans of the show or the books must absolutely love that. So I thought that was really cool. Same thing goes for Silent Hill. They recreated scenes, and it was actually scenes taking place, as opposed to you just walking through and people jumping out. It was like people acting, kinda, if you know what I mean. The one thing specifically, and this was right at the start of it, was when, you know, you see that like weird, creepy thing on the highway, and then a cop runs out and shoots it. And I thought that was really cool, how it was like a sequence. So that's what I really enjoyed from The Walking Dead and Silent Hill houses, is that they had these sequences of, you know, actors coming out and performing like a quick, you know, 30-second long little sketch, almost. Working my way to my most anticipated house, we still had one in the way, and that was Gothic, which I was also looking forward to, but I feel like it was a little bit of an obvious sort of style. And it ended up being kind of an obvious style, but I will say that there were a lot of really clever effects, and the one specific thing that blew my mind that I thought looked amazing, and it made me do a double take, and of course, I knew, you know, after the initial shock of like, wow, this is awesome, I knew exactly what it was, and, you know, I looked in and peered inside to see, was the effect of, like, looking down another story or something, like almost looking over a balcony, and they did it with mirrors, and then, of course, you know, you look up, and you see that everything's upside down, and the mirrors are reflecting it, making it look like it's a whole nother level. That was fantastic. And I wish they had one big mirror rather than a couple, because you can kind of see where the mirrors met, like the seams. But that's nitpicking. I thought that that was amazing. I stayed in that room as long as I could because I thought that was awesome. And finally, it was time to experience Dead End, which, as I said, was my most anticipated house because I'm a sucker for haunted houses. Like haunted by ghosts. Literally haunted. Not a haunted house that's an abandoned hospital or anything like that. A haunted house that is a haunted house. And this house was amazing. It blew me away. I'm so glad I luckily got to go in twice, and I was able to look at everything, you know, in more detail the second time, because the first time, I'm not gonna lie, I go through these things, you know, like this. I get terrified by these things. People jump out and scare the shit out of me. So I got to go through it, and I knew what was coming, and I was able to, you know, watch it happen rather than flinch and look away or anything like that. And right off the bat when you walk in, first of all, I absolutely love the facade of walking up to this house, but right when you walk in, you're in a room and the ghost is on the stairs, like kind of like going across a little hallway, staircase, whatever it was, and it was beautiful. And then the scare right after that part with like the sideways ghost head, just perfect. It could have ended there and I would have thought it was the best house of the whole thing, but it doesn't. That's literally the first room. That's the first 10 seconds. From there are tons of not only amazing set pieces, which obviously Universal Studios, they do incredible work always. Every house, even the ones I didn't like that much, like Alice Cooper, still looks fantastic. But the most important thing is that there were a lot of scares I truly didn't see coming. Of course, going in the second time, I was like, how did I miss this? It's right there. And I have to say, it was so inspirational to me, and this was the one that made the whole thing worth it. Like, just going to that one made the entire trip to Florida, because I'm in New York, and I go down to Florida for it. It made it all worth it. And I can't stop thinking about it. I really, really wish I could go through it again and again and again. I'm glad I got to at least go through it twice. But those are my thoughts on Halloween Horror Nights 2012 at Universal Orlando. Once again, I've only been to Florida. I've been to the Universal Hollywood Park, but I haven't been to it for Horror Nights. So let me know in the comments what you thought of Halloween Horror Nights 2012 at Universal Orlando, or you can let me know about Hollywood if you'd like. Let me know what your favorite house was. Let me know what you thought of the street experiences versus the scare zones, and which group was your favorite, because I think it was like different groups of like different types of people. I don't know. I didn't get to see it, so I don't even know what the heck it was. But also let me know what your favorite year has been. How many years have you been going? I would say, I think the first year was my favorite, and that might be just because I was so shocked by how amazing it was for the first time. But this year might have been my second favorite, and I honestly think that's because of Dead End more than anything. And it's funny because I didn't even get to see any scare zones or these street experiences, and I still think it might have been my second favorite year. But let me know anything that you want about Halloween Horror Nights, and that's pretty much it.